All right, Christina, I know we can't change anyone. I want to just be myself. I've forgotten how much with him. How do I remain myself, accepting how things are and not lose my cool? Should I have said, I'm okay, move on, forget the chat? Um, so a few things. It's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of cases where we really want to try to be with someone regardless, right? And we try to get ourselves, like I said, energetically to where we want to be. But one thing that happens in relationships frequently, especially for people trying to get an ex back, is when you're in relationships, all of us do it. I've done it a bunch of times. I've done it more than once, and it's really hard to avoid, I find. Anyway, I've been working on it, but it's very hard. Is losing yourself. You get in relationships and you get to this place where you want to please this person. You want to spend time with them. You want to do things with them. And you start to ignore things that you used to enjoy doing, that you used to do on your own, that you used to have fun doing. Good example for guys, and this is just because I'm probably guilty of it, but video games. Like, guys like to play video games typically. Typically, it's a very guy thing, right? And we like to do it. And we get in relationships, and sometimes girlfriends aren't really fond of it. And you get to a point where maybe as a guy, I'm in a relationship for a while and I'm barely ever getting to play video games. So now I start to try to figure out ways like, oh, you're going to the store. Yeah, I'm going to just stay home while you go. And you're like, you used to always go with me. You're like, I mean, I want to. Don't get me wrong. But no, I just don't feel like going right now. And all he wants to do is play a freaking video game for 30 minutes because you're going to be gone. But you don't let him. So it's kind of one of those things where sometimes we forget to do things. Then we start to try to create weird places where we can do these things. And it starts to create an imbalance. It starts to create this, like, we used to always be like this. Now you're not. And you're like, well, yeah, because for years I gave up on my dream. And I don't want to do that anymore. And that's usually why people grow. And again, that goes back to my original thing, consciously. If you're the one that stepped up, they're going to look at me like, I miss you. I miss that energy. I miss being with you. How do I get to where you're at? And you start to slowly shift yourself into a better person. I mean, I've definitely seen relationships and actually used them to help me chase a better career, chase better, like, just because that seemed like that's what I kind of needed to do to step into that world. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it certainly benefited me a great deal by walking down that path. And as far as losing cool, I mean, if you've got bad mojo with people, if you've got anger with people, if you have a hard time keeping your cool, one of two things. One, if they're just horrible people, yeah, you need to stay away from them. Just love yourself enough to stay away from them, regardless of who they are. I don't care how much you love them. If they're not ready to come to your level, love yourself enough to stay at your higher level. And if they catch up, cool. If they don't, cool, whatever. But love yourself enough to know that you deserve better. If that's not quite the case, then forgive them. Ho'oponopono. Astral letters. Let go of this reason to be upset. Whatever it is, whatever you feel like needs forgiveness, especially if you think they need to say, I'm sorry, you need to give them forgiveness for whatever they've done wrong. Forgive them for angering you so badly because you're the one that's carrying the energy. You're the one that's actually doing harm to yourself and to the relationship. Now, they should acknowledge their own thing, but that should not be anything to do with how you feel about them. If you don't like them, don't want them, don't want to be around them, then go into a different direction. But if you love them, but that's not really love, then if you love somebody, but yeah, you don't really love them. That's not. You need to look inward. That's again, it's both sides, and I think that's what's beautiful about life, man. It's a dance with both sides. That's why love and relationships are great because it's a chance for two totally different consciousnesses to try to come together and meld and merge and mend. And boy, it's fun, and you get all sorts of different experiences from doing it. But it is fantabulous. Lisa Marie, that's awesome. There's a lot of happily married people, and it's funny. So Lisa Marie, this is a great example of us pushed out. If you don't see marriage as something that's valuable, then you don't want that and chase that. But if you see marriage as something that's valuable, then you should see happy marriages everywhere you go. They all exist. I frequently talked about like the different filters we put on. I just don't necessarily know I want to be in a marriage because I've got some friends that have had them, but I've never really experienced it up close like as something that looks awesome. I haven't. I think it's great to be in long-term relationships, but do you need to be married to do that? Like, again, so a lot of it comes down to why do we need to be married? And for me as a guy, it's kind of a legal thing, which I don't like so much either. So I don't know. There's a lot of things, and maybe it's just me being a horrible guy, whatever. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Again, mom was married more than 5 times, so Yeah, and then she even bailed on me. So I don't know. Again, it's just one of those things where, all right, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that to be happy in life. I've got all sorts of other wonderful things. All right, Chris Campbell.